So I want to talk to you a little bit about stability and instability and being more stable and getting that base level of what everybody needs to be successful in the fitness world. So, if you think about what we do in real life, okay, very rarely are you doing things completely on balance. I mean, very, very rarely. So, in order to prepare yourself for that, which is what we're trying to do, prepare you for life, prepare you for the real world out there, whatever you're doing, your job, your family, your hobbies, whatever you want to do, we're preparing you for that with what we do in here, okay? So, if you're very rarely on balance, perfectly on balance when you're out there, why should you be in here? You shouldn't, okay? That's how we're going to train it up. So, there's very easy ways to do this, okay? Find one of your simple movement patterns, okay? Knee bend, hip hinge, vertical push, vertical pull, horizontal push, horizontal pull. Find one of them, and then it comes to loading. How are you gonna load it, okay? So let's say I'm doing a squat, okay? Now, if I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take two weights, perfectly balanced weights, and I'm gonna hold them up at my shoulders, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna squat down. I'm gonna come right back up. That's awesome. It's a great movement. It's fantastic. Holding something above your core like that is really gonna keep that core nice and tight. You're gonna get a great benefit out of that, outside of just the fact that the squat itself is a great movement. But I just got done saying that very rarely are you gonna do things that are on balance in real life. So maybe we should train for that here. So let's go ahead and just take one of those weights, and let's just hold it on one side. And then we go ahead in that same squat variation. One, I still have a weight above my core, so it's really gonna have to brace really hard outside of what the core has to brace just for the squat pattern itself. But then two, that one side of my core that the weight is on has to work extra hard to make sure that I'm not leaning one way or the other to compensate for that extra load that's on one side of my body. It doesn't matter that it's only 10 pounds. What matters is the fact that I'm holding it in one side. I'm not resting it against my shoulder. I'm holding it in one side and trying to keep it nice and stable, okay? It's the exact thing with anything that you're doing. I mean, if you wanna, you can work on strength while you're doing this. You can work on stability while you're doing this. You can work on core, whatever. Let's say I wanna get a little stronger while I'm doing it, but at the same time, I still wanna amplify that muscle, that maximum hypertrophy, but I still want to maximize my strength. So I have a 10 pounder, 15 pound, okay? Same thing, I'm gonna back it up here, keep them right here. Drop down into the squat, I'm bringing it right up, okay? It's the exact same thing. I'm overloading one side of my body versus the other. I still have two weights in there, so whereas before I only had 10 pounds, now I'm holding 25, just one's 15, one's 10. So you're just overloading, you're overloading the stimulus on your core and your squat pattern for that matter, so that as far as your body is concerned, it's a completely different movement. But at the same time, it's the same movement pattern that you've done hundreds of other times before. So it's still a squat variation, but it's just a different squat. So your body is changing. It can't be too comfortable because you're changing up the exercise. So it's gonna continue to progress and continue to adapt, but at the same time, you're getting better at the same squat pattern that you're gonna have to use millions of times over again in your real world life. So it's just little tweaks, okay? This whole, your workout's gotta change up variety thing, it's been overblown, okay? The body does not need that much change. The body just needs tiny little tweaks. And if your goal is to train yourself for the outside world and what you're gonna focus on and face out there, which is instability, and you wanna focus on that on here, that's a real simple way to do that. Work on the load.